But yeah, I'm excited. So Tokyo Game Show. Uh,
Mhm.
Street Fighter Six. I know I sent you that trailer. What did you think?
Right. I think it's neat, especially because like I was reading the comments because I'm not a fighter person either. But I'm at least familiar with Street Fighter and like seeing how people are excited about how they're developing the story mode more and like the customization is really exciting to me because I don't think I've ever seen that in a Street Fighter game before. And then I don't know, the game just looks fantastic. Like it's a really good looking game.
Yeah, so a big reason why people are so happy about it being so fleshed out is because Street Fighter Five is one of the most disappointing games I've ever bought in my entire life. So I bought it at a discount because it was a little while. It was like a year after it came out. So it released with 16 characters, and that's it.
Mm.
There was no story mode.
Oh.
The online was trash, and the menus sucked. So it was an unfinished game for full price. It was, it was so bad, and it was only like 3 years afterwards that it became a game worth buying. Um, which is always sad to hear. And it was a point in time where Capcom was in a weird place. Like nobody liked, not nobody, but a lot of people didn't like what's that game called? Resident Evil 6.
Mm.
Um, Street Fighter wasn't doing well. Like they just weren't doing great in fighting game place. And then next thing you know, things started getting better. Um, Resident Evil 7, everybody loved it. Um, Devil May Cry 5, everybody loved it. Resident Evil 8,
Right.
everybody loved it. Resident Evil 2 remake, everybody loved it. Resident Evil 3 remake, little more divisive, but it's but that was one divisive game out of all of the great games. And Monster Hunter
Mm.
World is the biggest one because it's the one that they made the most money from, and is the reason why we have all these things. It is low key the reason why Devil May Cry 5 and like Resident Evil 2 remake and stuff like that happen is because they have and still are making a ridiculous amount of money from Monster Hunter World and the most recent Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter game that they released. I forget what it's called, but it's on the Switch. So yeah,
Mm.
Monster Hunter has opened the doors for so much, and they actually said that they took like the systems that they built for the character creation in Monster Hunter World and bring it to um, this game. So it has a
Ooh.
story mode, which the last game added a story mode like 2 years after the game came out, and it was trash.
Mm.
This one has a story mode where you create your own character and you go and learn from other Street Fighter characters, and you use their moves, and you explore the city of Metro City, which is actually a city from a completely separate video game that also takes place in the Street Fighter universe called Final Fight,
Oh.
where characters Street Fighter characters that because Final Fight is a game franchise that eventually just died, but those
Mm.
characters were essentially kind of assimilated into the Street Fighter universe, and that's
Mm.
Cody, who is currently the mayor of that city, according to
Mm.
his story mode, his like story in Street Fighter Five. Hagar, who was in, I don't think he's been in Street Fighter since four. He was the previous mayor, but he's retired. Poison
Mm.
and a big guy whose name I can't remember for some reason. But yeah, so I don't know. It looks really good. It's a type of fighting game that will bring in new players who have always heard about Street Fighter because it's Street Fighter. It's like the grandfather of fighting games,
Fighting games,
and
right?
and they've already heard. It'll bring in a lot of people who've heard about it but have never played it. Like Kimberly, for example, the black girl. I'm sure you've seen in the trailer.
Mm.
When her trailer was announced, announcement trailer was released with her and Jury, people were so hype because one, it's the first time we got a new black character in a minute. We've only had the old
Right.
ones. Like they're bringing back an old black character that was in like Street Fighter Two, which is the Street Fighter that really got the ball rolling for the franchise and is like probably the most famous one in the franchise. Named DJ, who's like a Caribbean guy who makes music. And she listens to music, and a big part of her thing is that she listens to music. And they say that it's a very particular character that we know, but they haven't said who. And I'm like, it's obviously DJ. He's the only character that makes music.
Right.
But like, yeah, and also all of the characters have been redesigned, not just from a visual standpoint, but in terms of gameplay. Not completely, but because you don't want to change them too much, but just enough to make
Right.
them more interesting to look at and to play as for new players. And everything about it is just a revamp to make the game more interesting. So they showed off World Tour mode, which is the story mode, the character customization, and exploring Metro City. They also have a gameplay modifier mode. Like I don't know if you've ever played Test Your Luck in Mortal Kombat, where like there's just a bunch of weird modifiers that make the game interesting. They added that.
Oh.
And like I said, it's gonna be a full on game when it releases. It's gonna release with 18
Mm.
characters. The official roster was
Wow.
announced, and it will be Luke, Jamie. Manon, Kimberly, Marissa, Lily, JP, Jury,
Mhm.
DJ, Cammy, Ryu, E Honda, Blanca, Guile, Ken, Chun-Li, Zangief, and Dawson. My favorite character is Ken. Um, I love Ken so
Right.
much. I was so happy when he finally announced him. So months back, the full roster was leaked, but there are four characters that was in that leaked roster that aren't in
Mm.
the official release roster. So they'll likely be in the first wave of DLC, and that is Rashid, Aki, Akuma, and Ed. So in the roster, there are like eight characters, not just eight characters from the original